Hey warriors, listen closely, because today I will hand you 4 ruthless rules that will change how you walk through this world forever. Rules that will burn weakness out of your spirit and replace it with unshakable steel. These are not rules of comfort, they are rules of power. They are the same truths the ancient Stoics lived by, the same code Marcus Aurelius carried into battle, the same principles Seneca whispered into the ears of emperors, the same wisdom Epictetus carved into the souls of men who were once slaves but rose to unbreakable freedom. And if you take these rules, not as words but as weapons, you will never again beg, you will never again chase, you will never again explain, and your silence will echo louder than thunder across the battlefield of life. Rule number 1, never chase. The world will tell you to run after people, to prove your worth, to grab what slips through your fingers. But warriors do not chase. Warriors attract. Warriors build themselves into fortresses so strong that the world has no choice but to come to them. When Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," he was telling you, stop chasing what is outside. Chase instead your discipline, your strength, your clarity. And once you sharpen yourself into a blade, the world will cut itself trying to hold you. When you chase, you lose power. You kneel before someone else's value. But when you stand still, unshaken, disciplined, calm, everything weak falls away, and only the strong remain near you. Do not chase. Build. Stand. Become the mountain others must climb. Rule number 2. Never beg. Warriors, begging is poison to the soul. The moment you drop to your knees for scraps, you have told the world you are not a king, you are a slave. Seneca warned, "A man who needs riches least enjoys riches most." What he meant is simple. When you beg, you surrender your dignity, you hand over your crown. But when you stand firm and demand nothing, suddenly you command everything. A warrior never begs for love, never begs for attention, never begs for respect. He lives so fiercely that love follows him, attention cannot ignore him, and respect is carved into his very presence. The one who begs is forgotten. The one who commands himself is remembered forever. Think of this, warriors. When you beg, you say, "I am powerless." But when you refuse, even in hunger, even in thirst, even in exile, you say, "I still hold my power." Epictetus lived as a slave, beaten, broken, yet he begged for nothing. And through his silence, he became freer than his masters. That is the way of the Stoic. That is the way of the warrior. Never chase, never beg. These are the first 2 blades of your arsenal. Wield them with honor, and already you will feel the chains of weakness shattering at your feet. Warriors, listen carefully, because the 3rd rule is one most men fail, and it is the rule that keeps them weak their entire lives. Never explain yourself. To explain is to kneel before misunderstanding. To explain is to beg for someone else's approval of your existence. The moment you start defending your worth to those who never intended to honor it, you have already surrendered the battlefield. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Read that again, warriors. Do not explain. Do not argue. Do not justify. Simply embody. Simply live. Simply become. The world does not need your words. It needs your example. The warrior does not waste his voice shouting at deaf ears. He sharpens his actions until they roar louder than any explanation could. And if someone doubts you, let them. If they misjudge you, let them. If they lie about you, let them. For the warrior knows that truth is not defended, it is lived. When you explain, you chain yourself to the judgment of others. You put your dignity in their hands. And warriors, dignity is the last thing you ever surrender. Think of Epictetus, beaten and mocked. Yet when asked to explain his calm, he said nothing. He did not defend his peace. He embodied it. That silence burned deeper than any speech could. Explanation is weakness, disguised as courage. but silence. Silence is the blade that cuts through illusion without ever leaving its sheath. Which brings us to rule number 4. Your silence is your superpower. In silence, the weak feel fear, but the strong feel clarity. Silence is not emptiness. It is discipline. It is self-respect. It is the refusal to waste energy on fools, the refusal to pour water into broken cups. Silence terrifies manipulators because without your reaction, they hold no power. Silence confuses the arrogant because without your begging, they cannot measure to air control. Silence humbles the disrespectful because your absence echoes louder than 1,000 words. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And what is silence, if not the mastery of imagination? When you walk away in silence, their mind becomes your battlefield. They replay your absence. They question themselves. They feel the sting of losing what they thought they controlled. But you, warrior, you feel nothing but power. Your silence says, "I will not kneel. I will not explain. I will not bleed for your understanding." And in that silence, you rise higher than kings, for you are no longer bound by the noise of the world. You are bound only by your own discipline. Warriors, these are the 4 ruthless rules. Never chase, never beg, never explain, and wield silence as your sword. Live by them, and you will become untouchable. Not cold, but clear. Not distant, but disciplined. Not empty, but overflowing with self-respect. This is the path of the Stoic warrior. This is the way of unshakable men. Warriors, if you have walked with me this far, then you already feel the shift inside your chest. You already know these 4 ruthless rules are not just lessons. They are weapons. Never chase, never beg, never explain. And let silence become your superpower. These are not ideas to admire. They are laws to live by. And once you live them, you will notice the change. The people who once thought they controlled you will panic. The ones who expected you to crawl back will break. The manipulators will vanish, for they cannot breathe in the air of your silence. And those who truly respect you, they will remain. That is the filtering power of the Stoic code. It burns away the weak, and it leaves only what is real. But listen, warrior, this path is not easy. The world will mock you for your silence. They will call you cold, arrogant, heartless. They will tell you to explain, to chase, to prove yourself, to kneel. That is because they are terrified of what you represent. You represent the man who cannot be broken by rejection, the man who cannot be controlled by shame, the man who cannot be shaken by noise. You represent the rarest kind of strength, the strength of a man who needs nothing outside himself to be whole. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And most of that waste, warriors, is spent chasing people who were running away, begging for love that was never real, explaining ourselves to the deaf, and screaming to be understood by the blind. That is not a life. That is slavery. So stand tall. From this day, let your silence be your shield. Let your dignity be your sword. Let your presence be your proof. When they leave you unread, stay silent. When they misjudge you, stay silent. When they demand explanations for why you live by your code, stay silent. Not because you are weak, but because you are strong beyond to air comprehension. Your silence is not emptiness. It is the roar of discipline. Your silence is not coldness. It is the warmth of self-respect. Your silence is not withdrawal. It is the loudest declaration of power the world will ever hear. Warriors, the battlefield is not outside. It is within. And the warrior who conquers his urge to chase, to beg, to explain, that warrior is free. That warrior is untouchable. That warrior is you. So now as you walk out into the noise of this world, remember this vow. You will never again chase what runs. You will never again beg for what disrespects you. You will never again explain to those committed to misunderstanding you. And you will wield silence like a weapon forged in fire, sharp, terrifying, and unbreakable. This is your code. This is your power. This is your freedom. Drop it in the comments, warriors, and carve it into your soul. My silence is my last word, and my most powerful one.